The story of Musa alayhi salam. I want to firstly rectify. I think yesterday I mentioned that Musa alayhi salam was mentioned 160 times or so in the Quran. It's actually 136 times in the Quran. We just got the numbers mixed up. Musa alayhi salam, actually, the start of the mention of Musa alayhi salam and the start of the story in the Quran, and we dive right in, it starts all the way back to how the Egyptians actually ended up in or how Bani Israel actually ended up in Egypt. Bani Israel are the descendants of Ishaq, they are the children of Yaqub. Israel is another name for Yaqub. And we know from the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he lived in Jerusalem, and he was born in Jerusalem, and so was Ishaq alayhi salam. So where does Bani Israel, where did they move, or where did they migrate to Egypt, where the story of Musa alayhi salam takes part? It's actually the story of Yusuf alayhi salam migrating, and now he moved to Egypt. That's where the story of Musa alayhi salam starts. So the descendants of Bani Israel, or the descendants of Yusuf alayhi salam and his 11 other brothers, grew in Egypt, and generation after generation, and they had a status, because Yusuf alayhi salam was a man of status. He eventually became the Aziz of Egypt. So they had a status, and Bani Israel had a status. The original Egyptians that lived there, and the people of Egypt that lived there, eventually over time animosity grew between them. And Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us that the Pharaoh of Egypt eventually enslaved the people of Bani Israel. After what happened between them and the animosity grew, eventually it ended up in enslavement, and they were held in a position where all of their men would work for the Egyptians, and the women would be used as the Egyptians saw fit. So there became a two-class society. In this society, the person that is holding the society, the person that is running the society, is known as the Pharaoh of Fir'aun, and this was a title that was given to any king of Egypt. So Allah Azza wa Jalla only in the Quran tells us about one Fir'aun, and this is one person only, the one that was at the time of Musa alayhi salam. Just like the Najashi was a title given to the kings of Habasha in Ethiopia, modern day Ethiopia, but we only know about one Najashi, the one that lived at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So you discard everyone else that had the name of Fir'aun, because their tales doesn't come, or their stories don't benefit us. So this Fir'aun, he saw a dream, and this was a man of great power. That at his height, he stood to Bani Israel and said, "Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, I am your Lord the Most High." He said, هذه الأنهار تجري من تحتي. You see these rivers, they flow under me. And he said that he would build over the river, and he would say that these things flow under me. And it's reported, and I don't know how authentic this is, that the modern day pyramids were actually built by the same Fir'aun. And if you see like any videos, if you want to watch on YouTube about the structural engineering of this building, it says that till now they don't know how this building was built. It doesn't make sense. Structural engineering today cannot replicate that, and that's why it's still one of the wonders of the world, one of the 7 wonders of the world, that this building is. So now this man, he saw a dream, and in this dream he saw a fire coming from Jerusalem that moving towards Egypt, and it eats up at all of the houses of the Egyptians. He was worried. He called his people. He said to them, "I saw this dream." And this is how you know that, and we know this, but just from the story, that this is how you see there is false claim to lordship. If you were a lord, if you were Allah, if you were a God, you wouldn't really be scared by a dream. As a matter of fact, you should be controlling the dreams. So that this is the first thing, and you can see that this is evidence. So he saw this dream, he was scared, he called the people, he said to them, "What is it?" They said, "We see one of the children of the Israelites is going to take over your kingdom, and is going to destroy all of the Egyptians, and he's going to live in your place." So they came to consensus, and this is how you know, Allah, that evil isn't a one-man job. The people around him and himself came to a consensus that we kill all of the boys of Bani Israel. So they started killing all of the Israeli boys. Anyone that is born, they started killing them. Or the people of Bani Israel, Israelites, they started killing the children and their boys and the newborns. And then after time, they stopped. And this just proves the level of Egypt. The level of evil that these people were living in. The reason they stopped wasn't because killing children is wrong. The reason they stopped is they said, if you keep killing them, we won't have anyone else to enslave. So instead, kill on 1 year and leave them on the 2nd year. And they said, if the child that you kill is born in a year, if the child that is going to take your kingdom is born in a year that you've killed all the children, you've got rid of him from early age. If he's born in a year that you've left him, you would have already killed half of his army. half of his people would have already gone. So you're already halfway to eradicating it. So they've allowed them to live 1 year and started killing them for another year. And then this carried on. And this is where the story of Musa alayhi salam comes in, where his older brother Harun was born in the first year. And then Musa's mother got pregnant, and he was born in a year, Harun was born in a year where they allowed children to live. And then Musa's mother got pregnant again, and her heart sunk because she knew she was going to give birth in a year that all of the children would be killed. And from that fear is that what she started saying and describing, making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal, she turned to Allah Azza wa Jal. So, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَىٰ أَنْ أَرْضِعِهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. Allah Azza wa Jal told her, when you give birth to this child, put him in a taboot, in a box, and put him in the river. And some said that this river is the Nile, the river Nile. Put him there and leave him, let him be. And he'll float. And by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, he floated. He floats, Musa alayhi salam, or this young boy, this baby, floats from one side, and he goes and he ends up right in the den. He ends up with Fir'aun, and he ends up with the people of Fir'aun. He was picked up, he was taken, the wife of Fir'aun saw him. She said, قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكَ. This is the coolness of my eyes for you and me, for Fir'aun. And Fir'aun is reported to say, no, this is the coolness of your eyes. But for me, he's a child of the Israelites, is born on the wrong year. So she said, you can't kill him. And the wife of Fir'aun sort of stood firm, and she said that you can't kill this boy. And Allah Azza wa Jal told us, or told Musa alayhi salam directly, he said, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِنِّي. That one of the favors that Allah Azza wa Jal gave Musa is that anyone that saw Musa alayhi salam liked him and loved him. To the extent, there's an athar is a narration from one of the scholars of the past, or one of the people of the past. There's an athar that is said that Iblis was asked, have you ever liked a Muslim? He said, no one except Musa alayhi salam. We don't know how true this is, but it's an athar, it's there in the books of the seerah, or in the books of the pious predecessors. So she fell in love with Musa alayhi salam, she started to raise him, but Musa alayhi salam wouldn't breastfeed. They bought all of those, they can't, he wouldn't. And then eventually, the mother of Musa alayhi salam sent her daughter to lurk around and to find out where Musa is. And she found him at the palace of Fir'aun, and she found them announcing that they are looking for someone to breastfeed him. So she came back, and she brought her mother, and she said, let her try breastfeed him. And she was paid to breastfeed and raise Musa alayhi salam. And this is the mystery of dua. Allah Azza wa Jal not only took care of her problem, which was she was worried about her son being killed, now she is being paid to raise him and breastfeed him. And this is the might of Allah Azza wa Jal and the wonders of Allah Azza wa Jal. The story in the Quran sort of skips a large bunch until Musa alayhi salam has grown, and he's a man and he's walking around the streets of Egypt, and he saw two people in altercation. Musa alayhi salam saw one from his people, from the Israelites, another man from the Egyptians, the people of Fir'aun. And then Musa alayhi salam came and grabbed the man from the people of Fir'aun, just so he stops him and he moves him away from the Israelite that he was beating up. So as he grabbed him, he pushed him, this man died. And it was an accidental death. Musa alayhi salam was scared for his life. This is one of the people of Fir'aun that has been killed, and this is a big thing. Even though they were killing their children every year, they were killing them and punishing them and torturing them, it's a big thing that someone from the people of Fir'aun would be killed. So Musa alayhi salam was scared, he hid. The next day, the very next day, as the Quran tells us, as he was walking again, there were no witnesses, no one knew who killed this man. He saw this same Israelite fighting with another man. Musa alayhi salam went to him, he found him again, and then Musa alayhi salam told him, you're trouble. You are the one you're getting yourself into trouble. So again, he tried to separate them. The person, the one from the Egyptians, the one from the people of Fir'aun, said to him, أَتُرِيدُ أَن تَقْتُلَنِي كَمَا قَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا بِالْأَمْسِ. Do you want to kill me, O Musa, just like you've killed someone yesterday? And by now they didn't have a suspect, they didn't know who killed him, but because the first day there were no witnesses. The second day to this altercation there were witnesses, and people spread the news that it was Musa, the one that killed the man yesterday. So they started looking for Musa, and a man came from the other side of the city, as the Quran tells us, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْعَى قال يا موسى إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلوك. That the people they're gathering, they're plotting to kill you, O Musa. And then Musa alayhi salam fled, and he went towards a city known as Madian. This city of Madian in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions it again. It's the same city of Shu'aib alayhi salam. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا. He sent to Madian their brother Shu'aib. But this, some of the scholars have said, actually, what happens next in the story is related to Shu'aib. And the old man's actually Shu'aib, but we'll get to that in a second. So Musa alayhi salam went and took this journey. And it said that Musa alayhi salam reached the level of hunger in the journey, is that he would eat from the trees, he would eat leaves, he would eat grass just to survive. And he kept walking and walking and walking. Eventually, he arrived to a well and he saw people giving water to their flocks. And he saw two girls, or two ladies standing towards the back, and they're bringing their flock back. And again, if you see a flock just heading towards water, they all start running. Yani all of the animals start running uncontrollably. But these girls were controlling the animals, holding them back. And Musa alayhi salam spoke to him, and this is the etiquette of sort of approaching the opposite gender. He asked a one-worded question: "Ma khatbukuma?" What's the story here? And they gave him an answer complete that he can't follow up with a question. لا نسقي حتى يصدر الرعاء وأبونا شيخ كبير. That we don't allow our animals to mix with the rest until all of the men have gone. And he said, وأبونا شيخ كبير, and our father's an old man. So there could be no follow-up question. Do you not have family? Where's your father? Nothing. This is it. The story's ended. So Musa alayhi salam waited for people, and then he sort of brought their flock forth. Their flock drank, and Musa alayhi salam went to a side of to one of the sides underneath the tree, and he said, قال رب إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. That, oh my Lord, oh Allah, even with all of the favors you have bestowed upon me, I am still in need. And this is one of the ways of dua being accepted. It's that you confess and you tell Allah Azza wa Jalla about your weakness. You look at the Noon, Yunus alayhi salam, when he spoke in the stomach of the whale, he said, وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَن لَّا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنتَ سُبْحَانَكَ إِنِّي كُنتُ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. He said to him, oh Allah, he put his hand up and said, Allah, I am in trouble here. Acknowledging, you don't make dua to Allah Azza wa Jal takabur and say, you know what, actually I am not in need of anything, but I'm just making dua because I need to. I'm just ticking the box. No, you do it, you humble yourself in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Ayyuba idnada rabbahu anni massani al-dur wa anta arhamur rahimin. When Ayyub alayhi salam called to Allah Azza wa Jal, he said to him, oh Allah, difficulty has struck me. Allah Azza wa Jal knows his state, but he's acknowledging and reaffirming that state to Allah Azza wa Jal before asking for help. So Musa alayhi salam now is in a state where he has nothing. He asks Allah Azza wa Jal. The lady comes back again. She said that our father wants to reward you for what you have done. So come with me. So Musa alayhi salam said to her, okay, I'll follow you. She said, no, don't follow me. You walk in front of me, and when I want you to change direction, take a right, take a left, I will throw a stone in the direction that I want you to walk. And Musa alayhi salam led the way, and she went behind him. Eventually he arrived at this old man's house, and he said to this old man, spoke to him, and he said to him, as you can see, my two daughters are watering the flock, or taking the flock to water because of my old state. So I'm going to offer you something. That I can see you as someone of trustworthiness, and someone that didn't take advantage of the two ladies when you saw them. So I'm going to offer you an opportunity to marry either one of my daughters, and the condition is that you work with me for 8 years, and if you wish to complete 10 years, then that's up to you. So now Musa alayhi salam's got a job, he's found himself a wife, and he has a residency by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, just like this. And he said to him, the old man said to him, you have a choice. The minimum is 8 years you work with me. Or if you want to complete 10, then that's up to you. So Musa alayhi salam, Jibreel alayhi salam was asked by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, out of curiosity, what did Musa alayhi salam do? And then he said to him, he completed the 10. So Musa alayhi salam completed the 10 years, and then started heading back towards Egypt. As he was heading back towards Egypt, Musa alayhi salam was sort of taking 10 years. You would think by 10 years people would forget anything, or any and everything. But Fir'aun still had it out for him. So Musa alayhi salam was heading and wondering what his state would be like when he arrives at Egypt. As he was walking in that direction, he stopped by a fire. He sees a fire in the dark, in the valleys of Egypt, where Mount Sinai is. Now, it's not a normal thing to see, yani. To see a fire, it means there's a camp. To see a camp, it means there are people eating. You're going to eat good, there's some food there. So Musa alayhi salam told his wife, told her to wait, that I'm going to see and explore where it is. As Musa alayhi salam headed towards this, we'll stop here inshallah, and tomorrow we'll continue and see what Musa alayhi salam found when he reached the fire. Jazakumullah khair.